Rise of Skywalker, everything with Poe and Katie Washington.
Carrie Russell.
Carrie Russell.
No. Katie Washington. I believe that was her character's name in the movie. That the
I don't know why I can't
hunter.
remember Carrie Russell. I don't.
You did. Her character, Katie Washington, from the famed Star Wars movie, The Rise of Skywalker.
I tried. Leave me alone.
No,
you knew who I was talking about.
Not. Yes, because she's such a famous character, Katie Washington. I hope we get spin-off comics of her just out there like, Kate, babe.
Fine. Okay, you corrected me. So anyway, Kathy Carter's character, that I'm remembering that because I feel it should have been memorable.
Sure.
But there wasn't enough there.
I mean,
I remember lamenting with other people, probably you, after the movie, man, I wanted to see more of that planet, and then they blew it up.
Well, I've said it time and time again, it should have been 2 movies.
Yeah.
Everything that's in that movie would have been better served by stretching it into a 9 and a 10, and then everything you're asking for would have happened, because we would have got a full arc with that character instead of a scene, and then, I'm also at the end, too. Should we kiss? Nah.
No, TC. They should not kiss.
He looks at her. Poe looks at her and goes, huh? And she goes, mm-mm. And he goes, all right.
Yeah, no kiss.
No kiss. Romance must be dead.
I don't. So you just said something there. Now, I actually think it's following the tradition of Star Wars from the beginning.
Oh, Luke and Leia were smooching, and Han and Leia were smooching, and in my fanfic, Han and Luke are doing more than smooching. And you've read it.
I have read it, and that's what always leads us to this conversation.
Right.
Is your fanfic.
Off mic, I'm like, you want to talk about my erotica, my Star Wars erotica? The erotica strikes back.
God, TC.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to talk about
it.
Right.
So everyone's making out with everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to keep talking about Star Wars?
No.
I think it's finale time.
Okay.
All right, here we go, folks. I'm going to start the show.
Here we go.
Hello and welcome to The Studio Demands It, an exercise in creative thinking where we will conceptualize, or at least we have conceptualized, pitched, and crafted films and series based on the demands and stipulations from you listeners acting as hypothetical Hollywood overlords. As professional screenwriters ourselves and massive cinephiles, we talk movies all the time. And we'd like to believe we can meet any demand thrown at us. We will be your screenwriters for this episode, and we have been the screenwriters for this season. I am TC DeWitt, and joining me, as always, is Jim Stringlights Berzelik.
That's you finally said my real middle name.
It took a lot of digging to find it. I was commenting before we started that people give me a hard time. More than enough people at this point have given me a hard time that I have a string lights around the perimeter of my ceiling as just fun mood lighting. Why do people give me a hard time? Yeah.
It's because because they're jerks.
Yeah. I mean, it's my room.
Yeah.
Let me decorate how I want. I was trying to tee you up to get
I know
that
you were, but it wasn't the correct context to say the line, and that's why it was.
No, it's too late
now.
The
other thing is, I also am terrible at this. I can say a thing and forget it a moment later, like this line.
You're like a goldfish.
Yes.
Jim.
What was it? It was
I'm
like,
TC.
You can decorate your dorm room the way you want.
Is
Leave me alone. Yeah.
Is that a
Leave me alone.
Is that a patronizing laugh? I'm sorry.
Leave me alone. You can decorate your room. I can't even get it right.
This is why you are a writer.
Correct.
And not just a straight up oratoriist.
Yeah.
Oratorist. An orator.
Oratatist.
Before we started the episode proper, we had this lengthy conversation about Ahsoka and Star Wars, which you can hear if you subscribe to our Patreon. You'll get that bonus review of the finale. But we're currently sitting in the studio, and I have 6 Star Wars posters up.
Yep.
And you know what? I might rotate them out before.
Yeah. Your Ahsoka made you
no,
you're out of Star Wars.
No, I'm not.
Ahsoka's like, I'm done.
I just like to
Star Wars is done. Close the book on that.
I like to change it up, Jim.
Where are you gonna change it to?
Oh, I don't know. I have literally hundreds of posters.
Yeah.
I should start giving them away.
How many seasonal posters do you have?
Ooh, Do I have any? I probably have enough for like Halloween. Like I could throw up like Pan's Labyrinth and 28 Days Later, and I bet I have a good amount of like horror movies that could go up. Freak me out in the middle of the night when I wake up and I can just see eyes looking at me like,
Why did I put The Nun up?
oh god,
I'm going to turn the other way. Oh, The Nun too.
oh god, The Ring. Why? Why did I do that? Or the scariest of them all, House of the Dead. I do not have a House of the Dead
No.
poster. Look it up, folks. It's a terrible.
It's a visual. I don't want to call it a feast, but
Upchuck.
it is a striking poster. I'm just talking about the poster.
Oh, the poster, yeah, with the red eyes and the red face. Nah, get out of here.
No, the movie. I didn't care for it.
I mean, they literally have the reload screen from the arcade game in the movie.
Wait, which
House of the Dead.
Oh, did you say that earlier?
I swear I said House of the Dead. What do you think I said?
I thought you said House of a Thousand Corpses.
No, I would never say that because Rob Zombie is a hack and I hate every one of his movies. There, it's on
so
the record.
all the things you said would still apply. Sorry, I was thinking the House of a Thousand Corpses poster has a very visually striking face and eyes on it.
I do not recall.
House of the Dead poster does not.
It's
it's
red.
awful.
It's just an awful movie, and we've spent way too much time talking about it.
I could talk for like several episodes about House of the Dead.
Just about Uwe Boll. Like
Yeah.
Jim's starting a spin-off in the off season before season 5 starts. Jim, are you committing to this Uwe Boll podcast that I am not a part of?
It's I really want to yes and you, but I don't want to get committed to this bit.
Listen, just tweet at me or whatever. Message me that you want Jim to watch the oeuvre of Uwe Boll and do commentary on it.
The thing is, I likely already have. There's only a handful of his movies I've not seen.
God, honestly, if we probably could get some good TikTok content out of us watching and commenting on it.
Yeah, we could.
Well, Jim, we have reached the end of the season. Season 4 has come to its completion. All that's left is actually, this is not the penultimate episode. This very likely might be the anti-penultimate episode. We are attempting to arrange our annual crossover with another Zelda podcast, and that may still happen. So this may or may not be the second to last episode, but yes.
The anti-penultimate episode would be the second episode.
No, I Googled this, Jim, to make sure I got the word right so I could use it in a sentence properly.
Yeah.
The third to last episode is the anti-penultimate episode.
What?
Yes.
No one's ever heard that.
I'm teaching you now.
Anti-A-N-T-I?
A-N-T-E.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Anti-penultimate.
Yep.
Is the third.
As an antechamber.
Yes.
The one before.
The one before the chamber. Anyway,
It's the penultimate.
It's the penultimate.
You are
inaccurate.
right. Anti-penultimate is correct. Anti-penultimate.
But we have
not, yeah.
with delays due to the writer's strike and what have you over the course of this season. This has been a long season. Typically, our seasons are exactly 1 year because we do one every other week, and then we get the end of the year off. This just had hiccups along the way with strikes and whatnot. Jim picketed outside my apartment for...
I did.
How many weeks was that?
It was, I think, like 7?
7 weeks? Yeah, just every day. Just like, unfair! I'm like, we do this together, man! Yeah. But I'm glad.
Hell no, we won't podcast. I'd hesitate every time.
Kiss my ass. I won't podcast. Kiss my ass.
That's a good one. I should have done that.
Well, every day.
Hell no, we won't. Pause. Podcast.
Anyway, as tradition here, what we're going to do is we're going to go through, just discuss the season. We're specifically going to look at the episode itself, but we put our greenlit movies to be greenlit, our finale. We threw it out there for a vote in many forums, to the listeners, to friends, to those who vote without research. We put it out there into the world, and at the end of this episode, we will announce what our finale is going to be, with potential room for debate, which we will discuss as we go on here. But overall, this was a very fun season. I mean, I've enjoyed doing this show with you since we started. But I mean,
I started liking it about the middle of season 3.
Ouch! Oh man, I'm gonna need a moment to recover. Get back. I'm gonna go out and pick it. I'm leaving.
He has,
Hell no! Kiss my ass.
he has very heavy footsteps.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so like we got a lot of fun demands this season. We were able to go to some demands that have been in the hopper for 2-3 years at this point. So for those of you who sent in demands that we met, thank you so much for some of the engagement we had. We had a lot of good feedback. I think this season we had the most amount of listener responses, and that
Yes.
just helps us because we're doing this for ourselves for the most part, but it's really nice to know if we did it or not. Like,
Yeah.
So thank you to those who continued to send messages, emails, or even just talk to us in person. So
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I just rattling off the season. We had the Batman and Robin, Austin Powers, 28 years later, Community, hashtag in a movie, Book of Boba Fett, Book 2, Alien Frontier, Wonder Woman 1984, James Bond Spectre, Scooby-Doo, and the Mystery Inc., and the it was something of the Chaos, the Threshold of Chaos.
Yeah.
Mystery Inc. and the Threshold of Chaos. Bedknobs and Broomsticks, Scream 7, Disney Combat, the video game, Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen, Speed X, RoboCop, Sherlock, Dracula, Tarzan, Game of Thrones Season 8, a Pixar movie, a biopic, and of course the Fantastic Four. So, what are you giggling at over there?
The way you said RoboCop, like I heard Rowboat.
Robo. Now we got a new one.
And that's a totally different movie.
That's not RoboCop.
No, RoboCop.
RoboCop.
RoboCop. The criminals of the future are getting away on ponds and lakes across the country. We need a cop to get out there and chase them.
Wet or alive, you're coming with me. Now I got to make that. We have our RoboCop poster.
Yeah.
I think I got to do
RoboCop.
RoboCop. But yeah, so we compiled the 6 movies that we wanted, that we were like, we would definitely do this. These are the we were asked by more than one listener, which one do we want to win when we put it to the vote? Like, what do you want to win? And I said, we picked the 6 that we want to win. That's why we picked them. And I was like, yeah, but you want one of these to win, don't you?
We don't. If we did, we would have done that one.
Yeah, we wouldn't have put it to a vote. We would have just made the decision. But
Democracy only exists because of indecision.
pretty much. Actually, gonna bring up the finale list here, season 4. No, that's the wrong file.
Oh no! What are we gonna start over? Start the whole podcast over.
Almost had to.
Season 1, episode 1.
So, I actually wrote an intro that I ended up not using here, but
Oh no!
so when we put it out there, in some specific places. We have our Facebook community. We put it out there on Twitter. I put it up on my Instagram. And there's a couple of movie communities that I work with and engage with often, and put it up there. You shared it with some of your friends as well.
They just liked the whole post. No one actually voted.
You know what? I don't want to vote. I just want to see you write something.
Oh my! These are all excellent ideas.
Yeah.
They're like us. We can't
We'll
decide.
just do them all.
Do them all as one big movie.
But for those out there who might not have voted or even seen the voting, the message was out there that season 4 is coming to the end, which means it's time for you listeners to greenlight a production based on one of our episode pitches, and of the massive franchises and our concepts for them, which movie would be most interesting for you to see. So vote and comment below. And yeah, so our contenders that we picked were the Batman and Robin, the Fantastic Four, Gambit, the Pirates of the Caribbean, Mystery Inc., Threshold of Chaos, and Star Wars 10. And we had some assumptions. I think we could admit that Gambit was the dark horse. Like, we liked it, but
Yeah.
it seemed like, well, we're picking a wild, that's a pretty wild choice. Because while it did get a good amount of listens, that's not a franchise anyone's even talking about. In fact, when it went out
Sort
there,
of.
we had a comment.
So I'll bet if we were to title it not Gambit, if we were to title it X-Men colon Gambit, it would probably get more votes if it was more obviously associated with X-Men.
With X-Men. I think so too. One of our commenters, Bailey, wrote, "Surely no one's asking for a Gambit movie right now, right?"
No, we were.
We were. Bailey. But the big shocker for me was Star Wars. No one cared.
Sure.
There's some surprises within here, and I'll get to them in a moment. But Star Wars was the one that I was surprised just how poorly it did. Our listeners. We'll discuss the weight of listener votes versus just casual commenters, but listeners seem to like it. It's one of our most listened episodes of the season. We had several people who really rallied for it, but in the grand scheme of things, across the board, it did not do well.
No one cares where that franchise goes.
That's right. But I will say we got 1,001 votes. That's the total vote count across the 6 locations that the ballot existed.
All right.
We had 1,001 votes. I did not vote yet, and neither did you, as far as I know. Our vote was the 6th.
I'm
right?
kind of hoping that 1,001th vote.
One vote.
Tips the scale in some way.
Well, we shall discuss.
Gives the whole voting thing a big old yop.
Surprise. But just going through some of the comments here, well, actually, let me just look. I don't even know where to begin here, honestly. Here's the biggest surprise. We had a write-in vote that started with Trevor. Trevor, one of our devotees, one of our devout listeners, commented in all caps, "Do Alien Frontier, you cowards."
Oh, that's wonderful.
And
what an excellent way to be called out. I love that, actually. I thank you for calling us out and being cowards for Alien Frontier.
Well, we had discussed it, and
We
so
did.
I told Trevor.
It had made the cut up until I'll
final.
just say it until Fantastic Four.
Yeah, until
And-
Fantastic Four bumped it.
Yeah.
Because I told Trevor, I said, and this was a commenting back and forth with him, it was on the list. We ended up dumping it after discussing how little dialogue it would have and how much it would just be action lines and stage directions. We weren't sure if that would make the best table read. Because that and Speed.
Yeah.
We had a conversation about that. It's so much action, so it would just be one person describing the movie.
Most of the stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
And then TC, of course, doing sound effects in the background, huffing like he's running, making gunshots. Yeah. Because we wouldn't go get Foley. It would just be TC making the sounds.
That's the submarine one.
Yeah.
It would just be that. Now, Trevor did have a response to that. He said that is true. That is a really, really compelling reason to boot it. But remember, Audible did William Gibson's Alien 3 as a radio drama with Lance Henriksen and Michael Biehn, and it was pretty good. Don't sell your good ideas short just because the narrator is going to be the main character.
Fair enough.
And then people started jumping on board for that argument. Luane also jumped in with, where's his, 2 votes for Alien Frontier. And so I put it out there elsewhere. Once it was on this comment section, I decided to put it elsewhere and
See what happens.
I said, you
see
know what?
How many write-ins it got?
If you want to do a write-in for Alien, we are accepting write-in votes. And it happened.
Wow.
Alien got more votes than Star Wars.
Wow.
Alien Frontier came in 5th.
Holy shit.
It didn't make it to the top,
Sure.
but it unseated Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like there was a couple of the ballots came in with 0 votes for Star Wars and 11 votes here for Frontier, another 20 votes over here for Frontier. So good job, Trevor. You are correct. We sit corrected, and maybe we should have had a little more faith in Alien. Let's see if I get some other. The calling us cowards in all caps was sort of like, all right, we hear you.
Yep.
And it's because of that and Mystery Inc. that I left voting open for an extra week.
Okay.
Because Batman ran away with it.
It did.
And Fantastic Four was hot on its tail
Mhm.
for the first week.
Mhm.
It just Batman took off, and that we did kind of have a discussion that seemed like the likeliest winner in this.
Yeah, because I mean, what we do know that some of the places that we post this, people are just sort of reacting to the titles, not
Mhm.
reacting to even the blurbs you put for the log lines you put for each of them.
Mhm.
They're just reacting to the IP.
Just the title, just
Like,
the IP.
I'm a Batman fanboy.
Batman. Yeah. But Mystery Inc. also started cranking in votes because of one comment. Let me make sure I have this right. So I want to give credit to who deserves it. It's from CJ. If Del Toro directed Threshold of Chaos, I would buy opening day tickets. So as soon as
Benicio del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro,
directing.
yeah, Benicio's playing Scooby.
Yeah.
Woof woof, Shaggy, give me some Scooby snaps. Shut the fuck up. So CJ put it out there in the comments of Guillermo del Toro directing Threshold of Chaos, and that everyone was like, "Oh, well, hold on, game change! I'm changing my vote." Like people started
Okay.
voting for Threshold of Chaos based on the idea that it would be a Del Toro movie. And honestly, we rarely discuss who would direct something.
Yeah.
But that does create a particular style of film.
It does.
And so then Mystery Inc. started taking off. Even though people are tired of the multiverse, and we created a multiversal story with
Yeah.
multiple versions of Fred and Daphne and Velma and Shaggy. Once Del Toro's name was evoked, suddenly everyone was like, "Oh, hold on, I didn't know that was part of the equation." And and Scooby-Doo started taking off. And weirdly, I just didn't realize how many people were on board for Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah, and Scooby-Doo
I
climbed the charts.
I told a group of friends I was hanging out with about the vote, and I at the time Scooby-Doo was on the rise, and so I had said it's currently a tie between. At that time, it was a tie between Batman and Scooby-Doo,
Mhm.
and without hesitating, all four of the people. I didn't know Del Toro was a part of this, so just Batman versus Scooby-Doo. All four of them were like Scooby-Doo, hands down.
That's so wild. What do you think that is?
I don't know.
Because we did get good feedback from our episode proper, and the log line for it is, I'll just read it. A quartet of teens is forced to work together on a school project that quickly unravels into unlocking several portals to several hells. As ghouls, goblins, and worse seep through into their world, Daphne, Fred, Shaggy, and Velma must band together to solve the mystery of these portals and who is responsible for their existence. That's the log line, and doesn't really tell. I guess it's enough for people to go, yes, I love Scooby-Doo, and I want more of that.
Yeah.
Wild. So yeah, that Guillermo del Toro's name thrown on there. We'll just say it was our idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, how would we write it to feel like that?
I mean, that's a pastiche. Like Del
I don't even
Toro.
know if we could.
I don't think we could. At the most, having at least one of the main characters be Spanish, a Spanish speaker. I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm serious. Like casting against the prototype of the characters, which is all four of them are white.
He doesn't really do that though. I mean, of what he's done of IP, like honestly, all I can think of is Hellboy. He didn't redefine characters to do anything like that.
Yeah, sure. I suppose. I'm thinking for the audio version of it,
Sure.
though, having someone of like a Spanish speaker, I think would just add that extra flair that we wouldn't be able to produce through audio. We could be very flowery in our description of the freaks and weird world that's being created, but yeah.
That's what it is. Okay, that's how it would be. It would that's what would make the script feel more Del Toro.
It'd be on us.
It would be. It would be on us and that description, how we portray the hells and the supernatural events.
Yeah, like his sort of very gritty, lived-in realities, clockwork mechanisms.
But still poetic.
Oh yeah,
right, because he did Hellboy 2, which did delve into the a Fey realm,
Pan's Labyrinth as
but
well
still-
deals with.
but still felt creepy and dark.
Mhm. Yeah, I love the pastiche of Guillermo del Toro is always a sight to behold, and
Mm-hmm.
I would love to exist in the timeline where he did The Hobbit, because The Hobbit was
Oh, sure.
cobbled together Del Toro's stuff and make a Peter Jackson movie, and they did what they did.
Mhm.
But imagining Del Toro doing The Hobbit and what that could have looked like with his stylings, I think would have been a lot of fun. I think Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, is it's got some really cool, like, just like they let him go ham on
Mhm.
his stylistic stuff, and or like Blade 2, which has like his gross vampire killing vampires,
Yeah.
where like splits down the chin and the throat, and it's like
Opens up like the Predator.
yeah. But a couple other comments about Mystery Inc. From Sean, he says, interestingly enough, when I was a kid, I would have killed for a Scooby-Doo story where ghosts and demons were real, but these days I feel like making the villain something other than an old white guy and an elaborate scheme to steal everyone's money is a betrayal of the franchise.
It's interesting that he says that, because Scooby-Doo's actually been combat. They don't really combat, which dealing with supernatural entities now for like 20 years.
Yeah, it was the like, Zombie Island or something.
I think
was
that
like
was the first one
and-
where it was actually supernatural.
Yeah.
Well, again, and that doesn't count Scooby-Doo and the 13 Ghosts.
Right.
The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo.
The show I did not know existed,
Yeah.
that you enlightened me upon. Another thing, a couple of our, like, we have some younger listeners who I am well aware are a whole lifetime younger than us.
Sure.
Who, like, here's one from Ryan who said, fascinating options to vote on. And I know Ryan, like, dude loves Star Wars.
Yeah.
And even he was like, I could give an essay comment on why all these are great and the logic behind breaking down my vote, but I'll cut to straight to the chase and say I vote for Scooby-Doo. What?
Huh.
That's so crazy. But then
I want to read that essay.
Ryan, you've had a request for us. You must send in your essay of each vote, reason. Want ranked voting.
I mean, if you want to pass the class,
Yes,
it's incomplete without that essay.
it would be. It would be. But then, okay, so then once Fantastic Four went up, now we didn't put this voting up until Fantastic Four existed.
Yeah.
But early on, Batman took off with it, and Scooby-Doo was on its tail, and then Fantastic Four started like catching up.
Mhm.
Now for the poster design, I cast Rahul he's from iZombie and Midnight Mass.
Mhm.
I cast him as Reed Richards, and that got people's attentions visually.
Mhm.
So where I was able to put the posters and the art, such as Twitter and Instagram, that actually, judging a book by its cover, there were people who were voting based on the poster art that I had created,
Mhm.
which, thank you very much for judging a book by its cover.
It also tells you how much casting is important to a movie.
Very much so. Like you hear it all the time, especially for franchise things. Casting nobodies is a bad idea.
Yeah,
You-
right. You hear people complain all the time, like, "Oh, why these celebrities? Why this or that?" That's why, because you wouldn't come to see them. You wouldn't come see it without them.
Yeah, who's this Miles Teller? I'm not going to see that. So from Melina, we have, as much as I love Star Wars and Batman and Pirates, I think we nerds have all been hankering for a truly great iteration of the Fantastic Four. And that seemed to be the sentiment from quite a few people of, despite Marvel fatigue,
Mhm.
air quotes, and Phase 4 and so far of Phase 5 being more critically panned and really nitpicked by a lot of people, very vocal, I don't like this anymore type people.
Mhm. Just real quick tangent here.
Mhm.
How much do you think of that is informed by the pandemic? The people who were willing to go see the Marvel movies during the pandemic were like more sort of hardcore fans, and your general audiences might not have wanted to brave the theaters. Or is that am I barking up the wrong tree there?
No, I certainly think that 2020 and
I suppose.
2021, like everything, the pandemic, COVID
Yeah.
really mucked things up in a lot of interesting ways, socially, emotionally, and mentally, health-wise, and commercially. What were people willing to risk their lives to go
Yeah.
see? Spider-Man: No Way Home
Yeah.
and Top Gun: Maverick.
Yeah.
And that's worth sitting back and analyzing for a second. Like, Spider-Man is, by all accounts, between like Superman and Batman are like the most worldwide recognized superheroes.
Yep.
They've been around for 90 plus years, coming on 100, so there's no surprise there. Spider-Man, been around since the 60s, is Marvel's most financially viable character. Comics, toys, video games, how many movies we've got, how many cartoons we've got. Spider-Man is top of the heap here. And I would bet Spider-Man is even more beloved now than Batman and Superman. More than Superman, I think, in a lot of ways.
I actually think Spider-Man might have been higher than Batman and Superman now for several years.
Okay.
It's like it's a reason that Sony won't let go of that character.
Yeah, they know they got billions of dollars just sitting there with one character, and it's why
Yeah.
they keep trying to do Spider-Man spin-off movies that
Yeah.
are not a good
And
idea.
it's interesting because all those spin-off movies are like they're trying to bank on the relation to Spider-Man, but that doesn't. It's you got to have Spider-Man. It's
yeah.
not any of those other characters. No one wants to. People only care about Brainiac in relation to Superman.
Yeah, no one wants to see a Brainiac movie.
Yeah.
And easy. It's right there in full Technicolor. The Into the Spider-Verse movies have done incredibly well for audiences and financially and whatnot because Spider-Man's in it.
Yeah.
Okay, no one cares about Morbius or Craven or Venom. I know that first Venom is like perfectly, it's a fun whatever movie, but no, we don't care. The audiences want Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's why season 1, our number 1 episode that voted by the listeners was the Spider-Man episode.
I would argue Venom sort of could be like the Venom fans care about Venom.
Yes, they do.
I would say that I don't want to say that there are no Morbius fans or Craven fans, but I feel like it's probably such a small cross section that making a movie specifically for that fan base isn't really a thing.
Well, it's being
But
handled.
also, I mean, they're looking right. They're looking at that at the Marvel way, and Iron Man. Who saw Iron Man coming?
No one. But
No one.
But you're touching on something, and Morbius and the Venom movies and Craven, and that's not fair. Craven's not out yet. We're judging it on its
Yeah.
trailer. But the reason Iron Man worked, the reason Captain America worked, the reason Thor worked is the people they put in charge of those 3 movies. Favreau, Joe Johnston, and Kenneth Branagh were the correct directors. And they approached those films with a kind, loving hand. Whereas Morbius and these movies, they seem to be, hey, make us some of that Spider-Man money. Just make us, it's a Spider-Man character people will come see because it's Spider-Man. There's no, it doesn't seem like, the best example I always go to is Planet of the Apes. That trilogy of movies that has come out in the past decade is incredible. And it's because they gave it to Matt Reeves, who gives a shit. And he like lovingly crafted those movies, not just to cash in on the IP, which is what these Spider-Man spin-off movies feel like.
Yeah.
So, to kind of loop back to... Oh, you want to keep going? Okay.
Well, no, I'm thinking about that, and it feels like I can imagine if one of the filmmakers or people involved in the Venom movies are listening, like, hey,
I know it's. I'm sorry. If they feel attacked, I apologize. It's just Sony has a reputation.
They feel even if there was a lot of love put into them, they feel overly produced.
They feel like
they feel like the studio was up in there saying, make sure you do it this way.
And to that point, I feel bad for those directors who made Venom and Morbius and whatnot, because if they didn't come on board knowing that and were just pushed around the studios to create a piece of content, that sucks. But if they signed on to create a piece of content, then It shows.
Yeah. I also Venom is a weird one because I kind of understand what people like about Venom, but I don't know if that can really be separated from the world of Spider-Man. Like I feel what makes Venom so cool is sort of having the image of Spider-Man there in the background.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Venom. Everything Venom does is he judges against that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm going to do something heroic, it's because that's what Peter Parker Spider-Man kind of infected me with.
Yeah,
if I'm going to do something bad, that how would Peter Parker Spider-Man react to that?
It's
and if he's not thinking it, the audience
there it is.
is thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
So to make a Venom movie without that feels weird.
Right. I agree. And particularly in a universe of characters that has not been tested and proved themselves yet.
Sure.
If Sony had managed to get this machine working, then yeah, having a Craven movie pop up in the midst of Spider-Man's machine, be like, cool. But they haven't independently created.
It would be like making a Wario movie that cannot reference Mario.
That's great. There it is.
It's like, I mean, I guess you could do that, but
you're missing a significant part of the character. Yeah.
What would a Lex Luthor movie be with no Superman?
Hell, we could look at Krypton, the series, which got a couple seasons in itself. It's a Superman without Superman, and then Gotham Knights, which barely got a season before it was even canceled, which was Batman without Batman. But we're sort of tangentially way off the point here. Is that Fantastic Four, despite sort of the prejudice against Marvel right now, or just like the overall feeling of Marvel being like, ugh, there still is that desire. There still is the want of Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
And it got a substantial amount of voting, and people even saying like, this is from Nick. He said, I suppose everyone's going to pick Star Wars, but we probably should just trust Marvel. the reluctant vote.
Both sides are evil.
Fantastic Four. This is from Mark Collins. Fantastic Four, because we're due a good one, surely.
Yeah.
And then, e.g., your script.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Mark. And then to kind of like go back to Star Wars here, where like out of all the Star Wars projects in development, Episode Twitter is by far the least interesting one you guys have pitched, because it's Star Wars X.
Oh. That's clever.
That was clever.
Actually.
Good job. I forgot to write down whose name that was.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Whoever said that, you're very clever. I'm excited for Star Wars, but mostly for just the spin-offs. I don't need any more of the Skywalker saga at all. Even those characters can still be in other properties. Let's just see what Dave Filoni can do with Ahsoka, which we've discussed and what have you, and yeah.
But doesn't that? I feel like that ignores what our logline. We don't deal with the Skywalkers at all.
But Rey is a Skywalker, Jim. Pay attention.
Don't we? Doesn't Rey do nothing until our second one?
Yeah, I'm just being a dick. We take her out of the equation. She's the one who hands the mission over to our main character.
Okay, I guess that's true.
Sorry, Victor was the one who commented that with the Skywalker saga, but I forgot to read the full comment. Enough of these characters can still be in other properties. Let's see what Filoni does with Ahsoka, but obviously the answer is Batman.
Oh.
Not that I don't mind conversation. This is more of a general online thing. It's very common. If there wasn't an option on the table, you can't vote. I did say, yeah, do a write-in for this, but don't say like, I want to hear your guys' pitch for Andor. Thank you.
We want people to write in.
Yes.
But for this vote,
yes,
for the end of the season vote, well, I actually like write-ins as well. The thing is, they should be episodes we've done.
Yes, yes. Thank you. I won't call the person out who said that, because I'm disparaging their thing. What you're asking is great. Send in a demand, because this is not the place for that. Like I'm going to see this and forget it. I'm not going to file that away. It's not a proper demand. I appreciate the engagement at the very least. But really, it was like, for example, Batman became a conversation in one section of our voting folks. People voted, but then the conversation began about, I don't want Batman, I want James Gunn's Superman. And then it became a whole conversation about that. It's like, cool, I'm glad you guys are having this side conversation. None of this counts towards the vote.
Yeah.
Like,
we will not do an audio podcast play version of James Gunn's Superman.
exactly. This comes from Mikey, who says, oh no, I'm sorry. Mikey Bailey? I think we already had a Bailey. Whatever. This might be the same person. I'm voting for Gambit because Channing Tatum is still sitting in the corner practicing his accent and shuffling cards, staring at his phone, hoping it rings for your guys' script. Aw,
Thank you.
a pity vote.
Well, if someone can get us Channing Tatum's number,
Sure. I'll throw the script at him.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. And then someone who just goes by Thunder says, maybe if he works in his Magic Mike moves, the movie will get greenlit really, really fast and do very well with the ladies. Winky emoji.
yeah,
Is Gambit known for his moves, Jim?
he is, actually.
He actually is, yeah. Let's see here. This kind of goes towards a discussion we had in the episode. I would have voted for Fantastic Four if Kang had been your villain.
Ooh.
We had discussed, and they didn't say who they voted for. I could go into the actual breakdown and see where their name pops up. But yeah, just a
Fantastic
comment.
Four lost their vote.
We lost,
because-
yeah. No, if it's not Kang, which is surprising because we didn't get a lot of grief by not having Doom. Like, I thought we would have more of a reaction to not having Doom.
Mhm.
Because, I'm excited for your Fantastic Four movie. I'm incredibly excited just for your post-credits Doctor Doom introduction. Okay, so they didn't hate on us for not having Doom. They're just, I'm excited for the movie, but specifically for your post-credit sequence. Thank
So
you.
they'll sit through our 2-hour radio play
Just
just for the stinger at the end.
I wonder, who was it? That was Meyer. Meyer, did you enjoy our Harry Osborn stinger at the end of our Amazing Spider-Man 3?
They like us for our stingers. That's that.
I usually just fast forward to the end and hear what they got stinging at the end. When we did that table read, I don't know if you remember, Gabe, who voiced a bunch of our like small characters. When he hadn't read the script, he read it cold. When it got to that Harry Osborn revealed, in the audio, you hear him go, which was very like cool.
Yeah.
All right, good. I'm glad that worked out. Let's see here. Your Batman 2 script directed by Matt Reeves. Please don't let Dick Grayson be some 20-something-year-old. That was from Ham. You betcha, Ham. We said 14, I think, was how old we were going to have our Robin be. Like, we were going to have him be
He's definitely high school age.
yeah, not verging on adulthood.
No.
Yeah. And that led to a nice conversation between Ham and Fowler, which I think is hilarious, that Ham and Fowl had a conversation about Nightwing and Dick Grayson. And thank you, guys. I did appreciate that in a lot of the comment sections, that it would spin off into other conversations. I'm just kind of breezing through the rest of the comments here before I get to... this came from... Oh, so this is one of the stronger votes for Star Wars. This came from Eli, who said, you're making this hard for me. Top 3 are Star Wars, one of my favorite episodes, Gambit, fun idea, and Scooby-Doo, a crazy idea I loved. Mental pain picking between all 3 of them. You don't have to... Eli, don't be in pain. It's fine. You don't have to be in pain picking this. It's just for fun.
Suffer for your art.
No, suffer for our art.
Suffer for our art.
I'm sticking to my guns and picking Star Wars. I love that episode, and I would personally love to have that script
awesome.
exist in the world. Thank you, Eli. Eli is one of our number 1 fans. Thank you, Eli. We appreciate you. This came from Sullivan. Wait, I can't vote for RoboCop? That's my favorite episode this season. And for the record, I vote for Black RoboCop. Yeah, Idris Elba, baby.
A RoboCop write-in.
I did tell Sullivan he could campaign for it, but he just let it be.
Okay.
And Aliens ran away with it. And
It did.
Unseated.
It had that super PAC money.
Some fun comments from some of our colleagues out in the. So Jeff commented for each of our episodes, and his Pirates of the Caribbean one is my favorite. Where he's like, as strong as that first film in the series is, I don't care. I don't care about the others, and I don't care how good your script is.
Oh wow.
However, a revitalization with Karen Gillan would make me care.
Yes.
Do you see that turnaround?
Yeah,
You
I
thought
saw
it was
that
one
turnaround.
thing, and he flipped the scripts. And
We didn't have a subtitle, a tagline, or well, not a tagline.
The Nail of Karen. It was the.
Oh, is that what it was?
Well, that's the MacGuffin device in it.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if that ended up being the. I don't remember if we had a subtitle for it.
Okay.
There's no way to find out.
No.
Yeah. And then his gambit comment was just, "This is not the right character to introduce the mutants into the MCU." Fine.
Okay.
Okay. So, thank you for the comments. Like we got 1,001 votes. There's a couple hundred comments to sift through, but so I apologize if I didn't read your comment. There was a lot of like single sentence stuff, and I'm appreciative of people just yelling the word Scooby-Doo at us. Thank you for that. And I could.
I read the comments, but I read them all silently to myself. So they were read when
While
I
was
read
babbling. So what I want to do, I just want to take a quick break here for 6.5 Media, and then when we come back, I want to discuss the weight of these votes before we announce like the numbers here.
WAIT, right? The weight.
Yeah.
The weight of
So
how
weights.
these votes weighted.
All right. Anyway, okay, we'll be right back after these brief messages from 6.5 Media.
Full handles.
What was his other option?
A knob?
A knob? Oh, you don't think a Raptor could have figured out how to open a knob?
No, like, the way Steven Spielberg showed us is they figured out how to use doors, and they literally just hit the knob. They didn't have a thumb or nothing. They just pushed down on the door handle.
The
cat figured that out.
Those are some clever girls. The only thing stopping
Whereas if they had knobs,
Oh.
like the Raptors didn't have the ability to grasp with their fingies to grab the knob and twist.
Well, they would either have bit, like they would have mouthed it and like turned, right? Or use their prehensile tails. Ha! Checkmate.
I forgot their prehensile tails.
You're out of moves. I checkmated you.
You said it. You said checkmate.
That's
once
what happens.
checkmate is said,
That's the end.
yeah.
It's too late. I've seen everything. That's such a dumb reference. Why do I do that?
It's fine. I do that anytime I hear "it's too late." That's exactly where I go as well.
All right, Jim. So we were having a conversation, and we discussed. We started to have a discussion, and we were like, you know what? Let's have this conversation in the episode proper. And what it comes down to is the listeners, the subscribers, the people who commented, the people who reach out to us privately and personally. We started wondering if your votes should matter more than our friends who support us and the casual passerby who wants to throw in their 2 cents on what movie we should do the finale for.
On which poster looks better, or which superhero is their favorite.
Yeah, so we started to discuss that, and it's a matter of the casual voter who saw the trailer, right? They just read the log line, they saw the art, and they're like, cool, I'll watch that.
Yeah.
So we figured that maybe, and this is up for discussion, that the studio, which is you listeners, should have more say than the moviegoers. And in this case, however, we also get to vote, Jim. But therein lies the debate. What is more important in the studio system? Does the studio get the say, or do you just go off the cold hard numbers that have like you know what I'm asking, right?
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
So what do you think? Like, how should we go about doing this? Because the main reason I'm asking this is it
changes? It changes the outcome?
It changes the outcome.
Uh-oh.
So herein lies the electoral college versus the popular vote, Jim. And politics, you kind of land on one side or the other when it comes to the Electoral College versus
true.
the popular vote. And so I'm curious, should we just go with the popular vote, which is this, everyone who had a vote, everyone who had a say, everyone who said, even passing by and going, like your friends,
Sure.
they don't know our episode, but all
Yep.
4 of them said Scooby-Doo, give it to it.
Mhm.
Like that, in a weird way, holds a lot of weight of like, oh, they don't even know what our pitch is, and they want to see Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
So I don't know, where does your heart land on this?
Oh man, that's rough, right? Because, well, I mean, even in taking that analogy of the studio and the audience, the studio wants to make the movie that the audience will pay more money for.
Exactly. Yes, that yes, correct.
And the studio generally demands what they think the audience will pay more for.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meta of our podcast, our studio is our audience making the demand of what they want to see.
Yes.
And in this case, I would think it should be weighted toward our listeners,
Mm-hmm.
because y'all are here listening and partaking. So you know the details of what we're doing, right? Like the Batman and Robin. You might love Batman, and you randomly troll your superhero sites, and you see this poll go up
Mm-hmm.
of a bunch of IPs, and to you it just looks like the normal meme of choose one out of these 8.
Which one do you want to see? Yeah. Which is essentially what it is, but yeah.
Sure. But like the details of our The Batman and Robin might I don't know.
It
what
might
I'm trying
change
to
the
say.
opinion if they
Yeah.
if they see what they were voting for. I mean, you can see it in the log line, but yeah, if they're like, I'd love to see the Batman 2 that Matt Reeves makes. Wait, you've got Bane and Mr. Freeze and no.
Yeah.
I don't want to vote for that. That might matter, but no, they're going, and it's not to say that we got. I mean, it's 1,001 votes. I'd say half. I'd say
Sure.
roughly half came from our devout listeners that came through on in specific channels. So it's the populace just
Sure.
said Batman,
Yeah.
or weirdly Scooby-Doo,
Yeah.
and no one wanted to watch Star Wars.
Yeah. Or there you go, right? Like some people did, right? Some people in those comments had voted for Star Wars.
Mhm.
People who aren't voting for Star Wars might not be voting for that just because of what Star Wars has become in their head, not necessarily what our episode is going to do with it.
Right. Like if they could hear about Underground Lightsaber Fight Club,
Yeah.
I know that's our Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I'll work it
yeah.
into our episode 10.
It should
by
be in
God.
everything.
It should be in everything. A non-Force user main character. Everyone like, hey, Rogue One. And Solo. Like, okay, fine. I won't bring it up anymore. I'm sorry. Like Rogue One.
Yeah.
And Andor. Non-Force users. Yeah, I'm legitimately stuck. Because once I calculated everything and saw what we had here, I was like, oh, I don't know which way. I don't know how to handle this because it will change the vote. And so I want to offer up a possible solution here.
Okay.
The,
I
the audience doesn't know what I just did.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Okay. It sets a precedent.
Yeah.
What did he do? Okay, I'll just admit what I did, which is like, do we do 2? And that would be a rather huge commitment, and it might not be something that
Someday we may be able to do something like that. I do not believe that today is that day.
Okay. So then let's you want to hear the results here? How do you want me to do these results? Drum. I'm gonna run out of the room for a drum roll.
I mean, it's for the people who actually voted the way the popular vote went. I'm sure it'll be disappointing. But I think we should vote weighted toward the listeners.
Okay.
Because they are with us through the whole trek
Okay.
of this. It's not random. It's not a walk by voting where you like those people who voted just voted for the IP they like,
Mhm.
and they're not even going to listen to that episode necessarily. Maybe they will. I could be wrong. Maybe every single one was. Well, no, you said it changes, so clearly it's
Yeah.
not. I think our dear listeners, the people listening now, should have a more considered vote than any old internet schlub.
And I agree. And I think that any internet schlub, as you just called them, they'll never know because they're not going to listen.
Yeah.
So ideally they listen to the finale, whatever ends up being
Yeah.
here. But so we're going with the listener weighted vote.
Yep.
Then I'll just go by percentages. So
Oh,
let
okay.
me tell you. So 1,001 votes. Here we go. Bottom of the heap is Gambit.
Okay.
Gambit only got 7% of the vote.
Okay.
Gambit just didn't.
I think Gambit might stop running for election.
Yeah, I think Gambit. Thank you. You've done a good job. Thank you for your service. The scene from Gambit that we created that I was the most looking forward to imagining come into existence, more than us just discussing on the episode, is when he breaks into the mansion and is stealing Cerebro and comes around the corner and has to fight the original X-Men.
Yeah.
So Cyclops, Jean, Iceman, Angel, and Beast are there, and he's like, "Listen, guys, I can explain." And he has, and imagining seeing that in the theater, like,
Yeah.
that there's no indication of the X-Men being anywhere in this. It's like, okay, well, he's stealing, and the people do like the frame by frame dissection. I'm like, I'm telling you, that is the X-Men mansion. He's going to the X-Men, and to have that scene begin. Imagine sitting in the theater. And our hero Gambit, scruffy-looking nerf herder, comes around the corner, and Cyclops is standing there in the gold and blue with the ruby red quartz bit, and I would be like, "Oh shit!" That would be so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Gambit, you are done. This is
Yeah.
It's no, unfortunately.
Until we get put in touch with Channing Tatum.
Yeah. Channing, answer our calls. Here we go. Coming in with 10% of the vote is Star Wars Episode 10.
Oh man.
So,
I guess maybe it's everyone's favorite second place from the sound of your comments. If we were to do true weighted voting, where or ranked voting,
Ranked
that's what
voting,
it's called. If we did ranked voting, maybe it would have had the most points.
Star Wars would have been, it would like the Best Picture nominee. It's like, well, it was
Yeah.
everyone's third choice, but it got the most.
Yeah.
Is there anything from Star Wars that you love, that you can imagine on the big screen?
Honestly, I don't remember the details. I just remember loving what we came up with, and it was just such a fresh, new direction for. It was still Star Wars. It referenced all the stuff, but it was truly a new age. It wasn't just the same old bad guys keep coming back and the same good guys keep struggling with them.
There's
It
no
was-
there's no all-encompassing empire. It's just one bad dude out there, bad person out there who is trying to destroy the Force.
Mhm.
It's like, I'm saying, like, there's not even a republic anymore in ours. Everyone divided up and was like,
Yeah.
we've learned that we should just exist as separate systems and operate on a much smaller level as opposed to one galactic unification. And it was, I don't know, it touched on some like sort of pseudo Avatar: The Last Airbender ideas of like different Jedi styles and temples out there.
That I think is overall my favorite idea and direction I would love to see Star Wars go. Because it just opens up the possibilities in such amazing ways, and not the ways of like Broom Kid, where it's just everyone just has it, just be done. Like still requiring training is neat, but allowing different philosophies rather than just two.
Right. Sith, Jedi, that's it. No, like the idea that there's just different schools of thoughts and different teachers out there. I really like that idea as well. The scene in particular, which we have in our climax, is when the negator, the great negator who has the ability to like cancel out the Force, gets our Han Solo roguish Jedi's lightsaber, and in his hand, while it's activated blue, turns it, just sizzles it red from the hilt to the tip. Like, imagining someone doing that in real time so cool. Oh,
Yeah.
it was even better because our Han Solo Jedi, you can't get close enough to use the Force, so he throws the lightsaber. It goes through our villain's back, and he just reaches around his shoulder and pulls it out, and then holds it out in front of him and just slowly turns red, like,
Yeah.
dude.
I also like that our Force user is the roguish Han Solo-esque character. He's kind of like he's like Strider in
sure.
Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
before he becomes Aragorn. I love the Lord of the Rings movies. We didn't get enough time spent with the mysterious Strider,
Who is this
the
guy?
dude who doesn't take his hood off and is
Can we
just
trust
a
him?
cool dude in the shadows.
Yeah.
And that our Force user, essentially a Jedi, is that.
Yeah,
Right? Like,
yeah.
because the Jedi are always. And I'm not saying that the Jedi are usually pretty straight up good guys. Like even when they're clad in dark, like Luke in certain phases, like Ahsoka in Ahsoka, they're out. Ahsoka came pretty close to what I imagine we would do in Mandalorian. Otherwise, she's just sort of the quiet, stoic samurai, and not the dark, seedy background character.
Right.
Not background character, but like shadowy character.
Yeah. So Star Wars, unfortunately, you didn't make the cut. Coming in at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6th place. Remind you, the write-in really worked.
Wow.
So coming in with 11% of the vote is Pirates of the Caribbean, our Karen Gillan reboot. Not reboot, just a relaunch.
Sure.
To pun it up of the franchise with Red, the bride, the woman being auctioned off in the original Pirates of the Caribbean ride, who is now leading the auction if you go on the ride. There's some fun to be had there, and since we've done that, we got that from a listener who said like it should be Karen Gillan. We were like, what? That's a great idea. Since then, that scuttlebutt has continued. Like Karen
Excellent.
Gillan name has come out there. I'm not saying we like launched that notion, but just like being a part of that
You mean
conversation.
you mean out in the world that's become a thing?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm not claiming any credit for that, but it's
Oh.
since last year that has come up again in multiple iterations. Even like when I was trying to find an image for what would be the poster for this voting, I found tons of images of Karen Gillan in pirate garb and Pirates of the Caribbean and whatnot.
Okay, yeah, then we probably aren't responsible for that. Would love to claim that.
We'll claim it. Everyone, remember where this idea came from. And I don't
it came
wanna-
from one of our listeners.
One of our listeners, but we popularized it. Another name thrown out there in the conversation of rebooting Pirates of the Caribbean is Margot Robbie playing like, the lead role, which Margot Robbie's pretty great. I wouldn't say no to seeing her swashbuckling and kicking some ass. Right. Nothing particular from that I want to sit here and be like, the sound design on Pirates was what I was looking forward to. Like actually getting to score it and do the sound design on it.
You want to do a lot of like cartoon effects, like woo woo woo.
Just yeah, I was really looking forward to
Humana.
Yeah, see, that's what I was looking forward to, Jim.
That's what's missing in these Gore Verbinski sailing movies.
Oh, dun 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 dun. Nah, come on, I want to. Coming in with 12% of the vote and 4th place, Alien Frontier.
Wow.
This camp, Trevor, congratulations! You made a dent. This is the most successful write-in in voting history.
Yes.
Can you imagine a write-in for president getting 4th? Like, no.
Didn't Ross Perot? Oh, Ross Perot wasn't a write-in.
He was running
just
as independent.
He was just the first time like a third party was.
Can I finish?
Up there.
Wow, dated reference.
Wow, good job though. So yeah, this is the greatest write-in campaign in all existence.
Honestly, so we watched Cowboys and Aliens to then give us what was our Aliens cowboy movie, and weirdly we like kind of drew similar elements and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I really
a lot of it was like, we'll do this like that movie did, but we'll do it better.
We'll do better, yeah. Sullivan told us that he enjoyed listening to us argue because we were clearly pitching two different movies the entire time.
Yeah.
I don't remember it that way. I feel like we disagreed tonally, but we ultimately landed on something that we both agreed on.
Sort of, but like disagreeing about tone is kind of right. What define like a tone can really define a movie.
Sure.
So I think. Yeah, man.
I just wanted to do Prey. Like, Prey is
Sure.
one of the best movies of last year, and if you have not seen it, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's so good. It's criminal that it didn't get a theatrical release. But Alien Frontier. Who knew? We probably should have trusted it, because I think if we had made it a proper, even though it was a write-in, it got fourth place. I mean, if we would have cut Gambit,
if it had been an actual
option, yeah. So perhaps that'll run again next year.
Yeah.
Okay, so now top three here. Coming in at third place, 18% of the vote is Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four.
Okay.
I thought for a time that this would come out on top. Particularly, we pretty much agreed immediately that it would be in our voting options after we finished the episode. We were like, yes.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I can see a lot of potential here.
Yeah. Being asked, come on, which one do you want to win? And I was like, all six. I want seven now with Alien Frontier. But truth be told, Fantastic Four was a little higher on the list of like, I think I want to do that one. I think that there's a lot of fun to be had playing in the MCU, figuring out a way to get those characters in organically, really playing up the elemental nature of those powers.
Yeah.
Four main characters, like very clear voices to tell the story with. There was a lot there that I'm, this will come up again unless we have an amazing season 5, which we will. This is one that I think will remain part of the conversation. So. Casting is always tough. I did cast on the poster just to design the poster, and I had a lot of fun doing it. But Rahul as Reed Richards, I think he's just so charming. I love that guy. I just want to see it. And who'd I have for Janelle? I think I had Janelle Monáe as Sue, and John Boyega as Johnny Storm, and then I'm always going to champion Andy Serkis as Ben Grimm till it finally happens. Andy Serkis as
all these relatively young people, and then Andy Serkis hanging out with these kids. Hey, let's go.
It's the thing. The thing is ageless. He's not like, oh, hold on a minute, I need my Metamucil. It's the thing. He can be.
I know. I'm just imagining I know we start them when they already have their powers and stuff.
You're just imagining what that backstory was.
Yeah, the backstory. Like Andy Serkis was hanging out with these guys.
I'm gonna do a Google search on ages real quick because I don't think he's that. I mean, how old is he? He's 60. Okay. He's 59 years old. Let's see. Rahul.
Yeah, so he's besties with.
And, Rahul is 37 years old.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a my 20-year-older friend, I answered an ad. I worked for him. It's fine.
Mixing Fantastic Four with Back to the Future.
Yes, I am. Yes. Always. Okay, so now... Here's where we are, Jim.
Okay.
We've got 2 movies left on this list.
Oh, my goodness.
And they're tied.
Oh, no.
We have an actual tie? 21% to Mystery Inc. and the Batman and Robin. Both of them got 21%.
So, if you vote for one and I vote for the other,
yes,
we can maintain this tie, and the universe will explode.
Now, to be fair, we could go to the actual points total and break the tie. Like, we could break the tie right here. We could tip the vote, which is like. So I'm putting you on the spot, Jim. of which movie we have? The Batman and Robin. And Mystery Inc.
Okay. So, before we put or either before or during the vote, I had mentioned to you, because we would talk about it. We'd look at it at how the voting was going, and we'd talk about it.
It's like, oh, it's coming up here. You can see who's winning. We've got another vote dump. Let's go to the board.
We've been talking about what it's going to be like to write this and record it. We've had concerns with the strikes going on while this was happening. More so about the recording because, right, like last year we I know it's like a free project or whatever, but was there's something about SAG
Right.
rubs up against what we're doing, right?
Yeah, there's a SAG stretch currently happening. I have to look into it fully. It sort of is a gray area of this is a podcast and it's podcast content, and it falls under like audiobook or audio plays, and technically that doesn't cross the picket line for SAG, so we could use our fun voice actor friends, but then there's solidarity to take into account where it's like, well, so there's that to take into account. We still need to write this thing, so give us a week, folks.
Yeah, that's also true.
Then there's time for the strike to end, and by the time this is even released, the strike could end.
And just even not taking those elements into account, a thing that I thought about was how much fun it's going to be to listen to. And we're going to write it so it'll be amazing to listen to no matter what it is, and that's just where I left it. No, I was thinking about it, and the Batman and Robin is going to be, because it's going to be a more gritty, realistic. Is that the right way to describe a Matt Reeves movie? I'm not sure.
It's grounded in a very Batman world. Like
Yeah.
there's not a fantastical nature to it.
And so Batman's voice is going to be similar to Jim Gordon's voice, is going to be similar to Mr. Freeze's voice, is going to be similar to Bane's voice. So I thought, as far as that goes, the dynamism of listening to the episode, I thought would be more exciting for Scooby-Doo. And I still kind of feel that way. I mean, I definitely feel the challenge from Travis saying that that's a concern for Alien, but
Trevor.
Trevor,
Yeah.
not Travis. Okay, Trevor. Sorry, Trevor. What was it that he said? He said that I could see that being a concern, but do it anyway.
Yeah,
Was
like
that
if the narrator's your main character, just lean into it. There's
Sure.
nothing. Don't be afraid of that.
And we can. So that it wouldn't be that he's a main character here. It's that, right? It would be the challenge for us to differentiate these characters. So don't shy away from that. But also, Scooby-Doo gets us. I think at one point you were looking over Batman, and you're like, there are no women in this.
Yeah,
in
that's
this
another
pitch.
thing. It's a very male-centric film. There's the mayor, Reyes was the.
Yeah.
I think that's who it was. She would be a character in it. We could certainly write other characters to be female, but the majority of even the Batman has two female. You got Catwoman and the mayor, and it's a very male-heavy film. And our pitch is for a very male-heavy film.
Yeah.
Even just the four main characters, Batman, Robin, Bane, Mr. Freeze. There's four men there, and then you got Jim Gordon and Alfred. There's two more. So yeah, it became a very male-heavy film.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Just an observation and something
Sure.
we should consider. Whereas with Scooby-Doo,
Yeah.
four main characters, 2 and 2.
Yeah. And so, because of just to create that more dynamic sound and cast, I think I vote for Scooby-Doo. Right. So and maybe that's not the fair way to vote, because I think without taking that into account, I think I personally. Trying to separate myself from having to do the task,
Right.
and what do I want to hear podcasters write and pitch more? Oh man,
It's tough.
Ah.
It's tough.
So the Batman was so freaking good. I would love to see
Yes.
the Batman and Robin, especially this pitched sequel, if I may toot our own horn. But the chances are we will see a Batman sequel
before we see another live action Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, and it's going to have Robin in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, there's a bang 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 happen
there's some
outside.
banging outside. That is so hard. So would it be in our best interest to put together something that will have a real life thing come out to
Promote it,
see how
you're
not just promotion, but like to see how it compares?
sure. Like how we definitely would have to it would be testing our skill to say
Sure.
like, okay, we created this version of the Batman Part 2, and let's hear honestly, as good as we like to think we are, that second the Batman movie with Matt Reeves and Pattinson is gonna be amazing because
It
it'll
is.
actually be produced and made.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no doubt in my mind there. Weirdly, going to Google Trends and comparing Batman to Scooby-Doo, it is strange to see, but those two have almost the exact same trending pattern. If you want to lean over here,
Wow.
you can see I'm showing Jim. So the Batman is blue, and it's got a nice peak when the Batman came out, and then Scooby-Doo has garnered some success. Velma gave it a bump, but they are basically neck and neck in their popularity, with Scooby-Doo currently on the rise.
Huh.
Which is very strange to look at the analytics of Google searches and popularity, the hashtag of those two properties. So that didn't help. I almost regret showing
so
you.
it literally everything about this is coming down to no, you're not going to get anything to help or sway.
You have to pick
must
one
make
over
a
the other.
decision.
You make a fair point about tying it into something that will definitely exist versus something very hypothetical, like a live-action Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo has continued to be around forever, and it will continue. Somehow this franchise has existed for decades and decades. This is the debate, the great debate here. So I like both these scripts for different reasons. The Scooby-Doo one is definitely going to be jokes and funny and weird, and either we will have a bunch of people playing the same characters' voices, or an actor will get to play the same character multiple iterations. On the other hand, what we have for the Batman is a cool Batman story. Like we came up with Mr. Freeze, the avenging hitman.
Yeah.
Like the assassin, to stick it in Matt Reeves' world and take away the Freeze element that he's not gonna be, in a robot suit. I need diamonds to save Nora. No, he's just a pissed off dude who's out there like icing people.
Because Nora died. I will dry freeze you.
So this is very exciting to have a tie, but it's also like, well, we need to make a decision here. If we go,
I think I'm gonna go Scooby-Doo.
You're gonna go Scooby-Doo. Okay, well, I'm gonna go Batman. What are
there
we
it
gonna
is.
do now, people? No, I think I'm gonna go Scooby-Doo. I think it'll just be more fun. I think the Batman, while it gained the popular vote, if we unweight the votes, Batman won. So I want you to be aware of
Okay.
that. If we go by strictly unweighted votes, 1-for-1, the Batman wins. But the listeners told us otherwise. By weighing the votes, we tied ourselves, and then it just comes down to us. And we said we do either of them.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if our defying the people.
We're defying the
will
populace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, the season 4 finale, the Supreme Court decision is Mystery Incorporated, Threshold of Chaos. Okay.
Woo!
So, yep, okay, thank you. Okay, now it sounds sarcastic. Please stop. Okay.
It's come back around to genuine.
Okay.
Yay! Hooray.
Well,
It's become a slow clap. Oh, it's definitely sarcastic now. Is that Batman clapping? Is that who's the last one clapping? Oh, no, he's stomping off.
vengeance! Okay, so,
Yeah. We could have our cake and reference the other one, too.
Go on.
Batman was a special guest on Scooby-Doo.
He and Robin. Batman and Robin were special guests on Scooby-Doo.
There is no reason we couldn't try to special guest them in there somewhere.
in the combined films of the Batman and Robin,
Well, no, that's
Mystery Incorporated, Threshold of Chaos in Gotham.
Yes. Threshold of Gotham Chaos.
The chaos comes to Gotham.
There you go, yeah.
There we go. So, the Batman and Robin, Mystery Inc., the chaos that came to Gotham.
Scooby-Doo presents the Batman and Robin
Threshold of Chaos.
Threshold of Chaos and Mystery Inc.
Let's just keep spitballing, James. Okay,
Yeah.
so Scooby-Doo presents the Batman and
Scooby-Bat
Robin.
Doo-Man.
Scooby-Dooby, Ooby Canooby, the chaos that came to Gotham,
Yep.
a Mystery Inc. movie starring Batman and Scooby-Doo.
Yes.
Okay, we got it. Did you write that down? I don't remember what I said.
No one does.
Okay, everyone. Well, there it is. The decision has been made. The tie has been broken by the last 2 votes. Well, honestly, the last vote, because I could have abstained and just let Jim take the heat on this. Yeah, so we will be back. We're going to sit down and write this now based on our pitch, and we'll come back with a full production just like we did last couple seasons now. And there is a small element of me that's happy to not do Batman again because we did Justice League in season 2.
Sure.
And so
yeah.
there's that little bit of like, granted to be a very different Batman
Mhm.
we've played here before, and it'll be nice to not do a superhero movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, looking at the silver lining of this is it's going to challenge us to write something different. Funny enough, horror.
It's just a talking dog and his friends defying paranormal forces.
There's no dog
greater
in ours.
than them.
We didn't have Scooby-Doo in ours.
We
It's
do
just-
eventually.
We eventually do, but
Well, actually, the dog's there the whole time. It's just not as the audience knows him because we decided to do the prequel no one asked for.
it was demanded of us.
It was.
Great. So thank you, everyone who voted. Thank you for our listeners specifically. I say thank you to everyone who voted because it's cool just to get the attention, and I thrive on
It's true.
validation.
It's true. I don't thank everyone. I only thank our listeners. Thank you for listening to us.
Jim's the better man. Thank you for the lively debates and conversations. Again, MVP of this is Trevor for getting that alien conversation going.
Yeah.
We appreciate you doing that. Big upset with
Thank you for believing in us and our ideas.
Yeah, that's actually key there. Thank you for continuing to come back. This has been a really fun season.
It has.
Yeah, I love doing the TikToks. I love doing those commentary tracks with you and creating those highlight reels. If you haven't watched them, please, Jim and I had so much fun making them, and those highlights on TikTok are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And more to come. Season 5, we have some new ideas. We'll continue to do this. Please continue to send in your demands, and let us know how you feel about this decision in the end. We hope that there's excitement because clearly at least half of you will be excited for this, and the other half will be disappointed.
Well, 22%.
22% of you. Well, 21% of you will be
21%.
happy.
Okay.
21% of you will be disappointed. But no, you're all wonderful, loyal listeners, and we have fun. We have fun here. We have fun.
It was a good time.
It was a good time. But yeah, any final thoughts for the season, Jim? Dead air.
I want to make a Scooby-Doo pun. Imagine a Scooby-Doo pun.
Was that patronizing?
It was, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a callback to the beginning of the whole episode right here. So. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for a wonderful season. We'll be back again soon to hopefully improve the world of cinema, at least with our finale, with our
Give you a Scooby-Doo movie.
Yeah. See you. Talk to you all again next season.
Goodbye now.